Welcome back to another project. In this project, we are going to create a digital clock. As you can see from the final version of the project, we have a background image in the website, we have a title, and also we can see the current time in a digital form. If you check the computer time, as you can see, the time is exactly the same and is showing here. In this project, we are going to use JavaScript to dynamically get the current time from the computer and set it inside this beautifully designed website. In the next section, we are going to start with the HTML part of our project. So see you in the next section. All right, let's start our project. First, we open the Visual Studio Code. Here we close the Get Started tab. In the File menu, we click on the Open folder. I would like to create the project in my desktop, so I click on the desktop, and here we click on the New Folder button to create a new folder. We name the folder Digital Clock, which is the name of our project. Here we click on the Select Folder button to select the folder. We close the Get Started tab again, and on the left side, in the Explorer section, we right-click and we click on the new file. We name the file index.html and we press Enter. As you can see, now we have our index.html file on the right side, but it's completely empty. But we can easily make an HTML5 boilerplate using an exclamation mark. So we write an exclamation mark and we click on the first auto suggestion. The HTML5 boilerplate includes doc type, which tells the browser which version of HTML the page is written in. And in our case, as we are using HTML5, we just need to have HTML here. Then we have the HTML tag, which is the top level element inside the HTML file. It includes two tags, the head and the body tags. And also the lang attribute inside the opening HTML tag sets the language of the page. In our case, we set the language to be English. Then we have the head tags, which includes 3 metadata tags and also 1 title tag. The charset attribute inside the first metadata tag defines the HTML character encoding. UTF-8 is recommended by HTML5 for web developers because it nearly contains all the characters and symbols. The second metadata tag tells the Internet Explorer browser to use the most recent rendering engine, which is Edge. Then we have the viewport meta tag, which tells the browser on how to resize the page. Let's use Alt-C to turn on the word wrap so we can see all the codes clearly. The content attribute here has 2 parts. The first part sets the page's width to device's screen's width. For example, if the user is using mobile screen, the page's width will be smaller than another person using a computer screen. Then we have the initial zoom level of the browser, which is set to be 100% as a default. The title tag sets the title of the page. In order to see the browser inside the Visual Studio Code, we can use the Live Preview extension. We just need to right-click inside the index.html file and click on the Live Preview, Show Preview. As you can see, now we have the browser on the right side, which is completely empty because we haven't added anything inside the body section yet, but with the title document. We can change the title here to our pages, to our project's name, which is Digital Clock. You can see the digital clock on the tab of the browser. Let's close this Explorer section to have more space on the right side. We just need to drag this line to the left. Let's decrease the size of the browser and let's start coding inside the body section. First, we just add a h2 tag to have some heading, and we just write digital clock. And after the h2 tag, we add a div with a class of clock. We just write dot clock And inside the div, we have our hours, minutes, seconds, and also the AM and PM section. So first we add a div here, with just an empty div. And inside this div, we add a span. And the ID, the first span, the ID will be hour. And we just write 00 for just hard coded because we can style this later using CSS before using JavaScript for dynamically get these numbers from the computer. We have another span with a class of text. And here we just say hours. We just need to copy this div 3 more times using Alt-Shift-Arrow down. And this one would be minutes. And here, minutes. Then we have the next one, seconds. Here as well, second. And finally, here, this one is, we don't need anything inside it. And also we delete this span because this is just for the AM and PM. We can just write down AM hard-coded for now for styling the project in the next section. That was it for the HTML part of the project. In the next section, we're going to start styling our project using CSS. So see you in the next section. All right, in the last section, we have finished with the HTML part of our project. In this section, we're going to start styling our project using CSS. First, we need to create a CSS file. So we open the Explorer section using Ctrl-Shift-E, and on the left side, in the Explorer section, we right-click and we click on the new file. We name the file style.css, and we press Enter. Before styling our project using CSS, we must add a link to the CSS file within the HTML code. So we go back to index.html, and just under the title tag here, we add a link tag. We just write link, and we click on the third auto suggestion, the one with the CSS. Now we have a link tag with the relationship between the HTML file and the external style sheet, and the href attribute here defines the destination of the link. As both files are located at the same directory, we just need to have a style.css for the URL. Now we can close the Explorer section again, and we go to style.css to start styling our project. First, we start with the body section. We just need to remove the default margin and bring everything to the center using display flex. So we just write body and we open a set of curly braces. We remove the default margin using margin 0. Then for bringing everything to the center horizontally, we can just write display flex, and as everything went next to each other, we can use flex direction column to bring them back as a column, and also we can use align item center to bring everything to the center horizontally. In order to bring them to the center vertically as well, first we need to set the height of the body to the height of the screens by using height 100% of the viewport height. Then we use justify content center to bring everything to the center vertically. The next things we need to do is just, I would like to add a background image to our project. So we just write background, and we can use the URL function to add an external background URL. So we go to the desktop and we click on the Google Chrome or any browser you would like to use. And in the search of the Google, we search for Unsplash. The website we were going to use is unsplash.com. We click here. And here in the search result, in the search bar, we search for example, nature. We change the orientation to landscape, and we just choose one of these images. Yeah, anything is fine. This one would be okay, or this one. So here on the picture, we right click and we click on the copy image address. And we go back to the Visual Studio Code and we add a double quote set. And inside this set of double quote, we paste the link. Now we can see the image in the background. Let's use Alt-C to turn on the word wrap so we can see all the codes. And we go to the next section for styling. Firstly, this headline, the digital clock. The digital clock had the tag of H2, so we target that. We just use, first we make all the letters capitalized using text transform, capitalize, or sorry, uppercase to make everything capitalized. And then we increase the letter spacing and the space between the characters of this text using letter spacing, and we just set it to be 4 pixels. Let's change the font size to be 14 pixels, a little bit smaller, and we use text align center to bring it to the center. It's already in the center, but when we change the other section, we want it exactly to be in the center, so we use text align center. The next things we are going to style is this section. First, we style this class, the div that contains everything. So we target that we just say dot clock because it's a class. We just use dot. We change the display to flex. So everything is now next to each other. And the next thing is this div. So all these divs, we're going to target this div. So we just write clock and we target the div. We add some margin, for example, 5 pixels to make everything a little bit separated from each other. Then we go to the next section and we target the span, all the spans. So we just write here dot clock span. We change the width to be 100 pixels and we change the height to be 80 pixels. Then we change the background color to be a slate blue. You can see the change. And we change the opacity to be 80% because we want it a little bit lighter. And then we change the color of the text to be white. Then for bringing everything to the center, we can use display flex. As soon as we did this display flex, we saw the effects of the width and height. So, and then we use justify content center to bring everything to the center horizontally, and align item center to bring everything to the center vertically. We change the font size to be 50 pixels to make them a little bit bigger. And we add some text shadow to have some text shadow. So we just say text shadow. The first parameter inside the text shadow is the position of the horizontal shadow. So we set it to be 2 pixels. Then we have the position of the vertical shadow. We set it to be 2 pixels as well. Then we have the blur radius, 4 pixels. And now the color is white. We want the color to be black. So we use RGBA function. We set 0, 0, and 0 for red, green, and blue, which gives us the black color, and also 0.3 for the alpha value, which means 30% transparency or opacity. So let's change we forgot to change the font family. We set the font family to sans serif, so the text looks better now. And we're going to decrease the size of them later, but we're just designing these upper zeros and AM. All right, so next we're going to target this spam, which is here, and the class is text. So we target them here. We just say dot clock dot text. We set the height to be 30 pixels. We set the font size, we make them a little bit smaller, not a little bit, 10 pixels. And we make them uppercase using text transform, uppercase. And we increase the space between the letters using letter spacing, and we set it to be just 2 pixels. And also let's change the color of the background of them differently. So we just say background, and we set it to be dark blue instead of slate blue. Okay. And also we add some opacity, 80%. Yeah, this picture, if the background image, we add background size cover, we're going to see all the image betterly. Yeah, now we can see the effects of the opacity on our website. And let's change the color of this to white as well. So H2, we change the color to white to be more visible. Now, after this, we're going to target this AM and make it a little bit smaller, and we bring it to the down section. In order to change the position of this AM, we can position this one absolute, but in order to be relative to other things, so we need to change the position of this div to be relative. And here we target that AM. We just say .clock, and the AM has the ID of AM PM, so we need to have hashtag here, AM PM. We open a set of curly braces, and we set it first, we bring it down, we just say bottom 0, and no, we change the position to absolute. So we bring that in the bottom, we change the width to be 60 pixels and height to be 30 pixels, like the one we did for this section. And also the font size, it's a little bit big, so we make it to be 20 pixels. And also we want to have a different color for this section, so we change the background to be green, for example. Yeah, the color is okay too, white, and yeah, everything looks fine for the styling. In the next section, we're going to use JavaScript to dynamically change these numbers, and we get the current real time from our computer. So see you in the next section for the JavaScript part of our project. All right, in the last section, we have finished with the CSS part of our project. In this section, we're going to start using JavaScript in our project. First, we need to create a JavaScript file. So here, we open the Explorer section using Ctrl-Shift-E. And on the left side, in the Explorer section, we right-click and we click on the New File. We name the file index.js and we press Enter. Before using JavaScript in our project, we must add a link to the JavaScript file within the HTML code. So we go back to index.html, and just at the end of the body section, here, we add a script tag. We just write SC, and we click on the second auto-suggestion, the one with the src. As both files, I mean index.html and index.js, are located at the same directory, we just need to write index.js for the URL. We save the file using Ctrl-S, and we close this Explorer section by dragging this line to the left to have more space on the right side. And let's use overflow hidden in the body section of the CSS to remove these scroll bars to have a more beautiful website. So we just write overflow hidden. So now, by decreasing the size, we don't see any overflow. We save this file as well using Ctrl-S, and we go to index.js. 4 things we need to have inside our JavaScript, the 4 elements we need to manipulate. As this section, the hour, minutes, seconds, and also this AM, because we want to change it dynamically using JavaScript. So the 4 things we have inside the index.js has 4 IDs: hour, minutes, seconds, and AM, PM. We can return an element with an ID using getElementById method. So we go to index.js and we create a constant and we call it our element and we equal it to document.getElementById and the ID is our. We can use Alt-Z to turn on the word wrap so we can see the code completely. And next we have the minutes. We just write minutes or minute element and we equal it to document.getElementById and the ID is here minutes. Next we have seconds. We just copy this and we change this minutes to seconds and this one second element. And finally we get this AM and we create a constant. We call it AM PM element and we equal it to document.getElementById and the ID is AM PM. All right. Now we have all the elements. We can change them dynamically. First, we create a function to get the data from our computer. So we call the function clock or update clock. And first, we get the hour from the computer using the date constructor. So we just need to create a variable because we want to change it later as well. So we equal it to new space date. And we want to get the hours. Sorry, the let is hour. So we had put h. So we have our new date and we want to get the hours. So we use get hours method. For the minutes, we just write m equal to new date and we get minutes, use get minutes method. Next, we have the second and we just say new date dot get seconds. And finally, we just set the AM PM variable. This one we cannot get it from the computer, but we can make a logic to create it. First, we set it to be AM as a default, and we're going to check it later. For example, here we just say if the hour is greater than 12. First, we set the hour to be hour minus 12 because after 12 we have 13, for example, and the new hour will be 13 minus 12, which is 1, and then we change the AM PM to PM. So after 12, for example, 1 in the afternoon, the H would be 1 and the AM PM would be PM as well. All right. And also the other things is let's see the result. So we use inner text method to change the text inside this hour element, which is here. So we just say hour element dot inner text and we set it to be equal to h. And we call this we need to call this function every second. First we call it here. We just say update clock one time and we can see the hour here. But for the seconds we need to call it every second. So let's first finish this part. So the minutes element inner text would be m. Now my computer is 8:30 a.m. I'm recording now the video in the 8:30. So the next one is second element dot inner text is equal to s, and then we have the AM PM element equal dot inner text to AM PM, which we defined here. All right, so everything is okay now because the time is 8:31:35 second. If you refresh it, each time we get the new second as well. But we can call this function every second using set timeout method. We just write set timeout method actually set a timer that executes a function after the timer expires. So the first parameter inside the set timeout method is a function, and the second parameter is the timer and we set it to be 1 second, which is 1000 milliseconds. And every 1 second, we want to call this function. Not every, just after 1 second, we call it again. So first the code runs until here, call the function first, and then as soon as reach to the set timeout, after 1 second, call the function again. And then the code goes from here again to here, and after 1 second, call the function again. And it's going to be an infinite loop. So we call the update clock function here. So now you can see every second there, this function is being called, and we are getting a real-time seconds here. The next things we need to do is just, as I mentioned before here, now we don't have 0 here. Usually the digital clocks have 0, 8, or it doesn't have a single digits. So in order to achieve this one, here we create a statement, the conditional statement. We just say h is equal to, and if the h is less than 10, you see, now it's true because it's 8. Just if this one happens, you just write 0 plus h. Otherwise, just use the h. Now, because the 8 is less than 10, we are getting 0, 8. But after that, we don't get any 0 at the beginning. We just get the 8 after 10. For the seconds, we write this one for the M and S as well. So we copy this 2 more times using Alt-Shift-Arrow down, and we change this H to M. I can highlight all of them using Ctrl D. So we just need to highlight the first one and use Ctrl D to go to the next one. And now we just use S as well. So now we did all the parts. Let's check the project inside the browser as well. So we open it inside the browser. As you can see now, we have correctly showing the time. Let's decrease the size, and you can see it's responsive too. Yeah, that was it for our project. I hope you enjoyed and learned many things. See you for the next project.